Okie dokie. So, my first question is, it's about the transparency policy, as you are, of course, very happy to talk about. Um, Overall, since the start of the project and you first made the announcement, and up to now, how is it working in a sense of towards the project? So, I know you guys are taking a ton of feedback thanks to this transparency, and you're able to say, "Yep, this is good. Yep, all this kind of business." Are there plenty of points where you think this is excellent? We're getting everything we need, and are there other points where it's like, oh, do we want to show this now? I mean, they've asked,
Mm.
should we? So, I mean, like I say, overall, the effect on the project, how's it been so far?
So it's funny. That question I could just answer it in an hour, but it's been amazing on many different aspects. So the first one is that one of the things that I was a CEO of a very large tech businesses. I'm 41 years old. I've been CEO for the past 17 years of a public company, and one of the things that I found when I joined the gaming industry is that executive as or a large corporation have forgotten what their role is and what their job is.
Mm.
And my job is like, for you, Kenny, like you have probably what, 10, 15 hours of entertainment per week-ish, you know? That
If I'm
includes
lucky.
playing video game, going to see movie, going to bars with your friend, going to watch a football game. This is part of entertainment. So I don't see other studio as a competitor of mine. My job is to convince you, Kenny,
Yep.
to trust me enough to allow me a little percentage or the largest percentage possible of your entertainment time. And then when I'm able to convince you to trust me, it's trust me for what? It's trust me that I will entertain you. I will make you feel emotion up and down, like all kind of crazy emotion for the duration of time that you're giving me. And these emotions will make you forget your boring life or the harshness or the difficulties you have in life.
Yep.
This is really our job. For everybody from CEOs down to QA,
Yep.
we're actor on a stage trying to entertain you. That's our job. And so it's not about performance key indicator, about MAU, about DEU, about this. It's not about that at first. You know, these things are measurement that you're clapping loud.
Yep.
You know, so it's the same way that if I'm playing a play, if I get a standing ovation, that means I got a huge MAU. You know,
Yep.
so that's the representation of it. And I found when I joined the industry that execs and large corporations have forgotten that.
Yes.
And for me, that transparency is a tool that really reminded us of that. I'll give you an example. I had a moderator. Obviously, we ask some of our fans, a bit like American Idol, you know,
Yep.
to pitch us to become a moderator. Obviously, we don't pay them; they do that out of their own interest in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a moderator that was moderating on the Russian community that sent us his resignation. And then we asked why. It took a good 2 weeks before we got the answer. And he said, I'm sorry, Miguel, but I live in Ukraine, in Crimea, and I lost my job, I lost my house, I lost everything because of the crisis going there,
Yeah.
and I need to survive now. As soon as I can find a way to survive, then I'll be back as a moderator. And it makes you go, whoa, okay, this game is important.
Yeah.
Another as you said, in the term of transparency, a lot of fans send us ideas, and even some of them send us design. And when they send a paper design, I send them back a little one-pager letter
Yep.
just to give us the right to use it,
Yep.
because we don't want to be sued later on
Yeah.
for not
Makes
using it.
sense.
And one of the fan on my Facebook private messaging was chatting with me. Said, "Oh, how do you like the design?" I said, "Did you sign the document?" And the fan said, "Oh, I'm a bit scared to sign it." It's like, why? Well, how old are you? "Yeah, well, I'm 14 years old." I said, "Ah,
Wow.
okay, you're 14. So do are you planning to go to university in game design?" He said, "No, I'll be dead by then."
Oh man.
And I said, "Why?" And he said that very casually, because he has muscular dystrophia,
Mm.
and he's in a wheelchair, homeschooled, and the doctor said he won't live past 26, 27 years old. So he said that it's useless for me to go get an indication because I'll never get a job. But I really like you to tell me what it looks like, my design and things like that. And for me, that touched my heart because really I was like, okay, we are doing video games, but
Mm.
we do have a responsibility on that trust that you give me of your own personal time. And transparency removes that marketing firewall between the devs and the fan, and we feel personally involved in that part. So that's one aspect of this. The other aspect is um, it's actually it looks very capitalistic what I say, but it's actually cheaper because the fan works for us. So I'll give you an example. I didn't ask you, Kenny, do you know the 40K license well?
I know it fairly well, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know if you've seen a drop pod model,
Yes.
the game sergeant model.
Yep.
Well, it's not mechanically
Sound.
working.
Yeah.
Sound, you know. So so all our designer and 3D animator are using these models to give them a perspective, which is fantastic, by the way. It's pretty rare in the project that you can hold the model while you're modelizing it.
It's good reference work.
Exactly. But the animator said, Miguel, it doesn't work. How do you want me to do it? And he was trying to scratch it. And I said, don't worry about that. Work on something else. And I took a picture of the model, posted it on the forum, said, hey, my animator is scratching his head about this. How should we do it? 20 minutes later, I went back to see the animator. I showed him an engineering schematic of a fan that exactly showed it. And basically his design was that the harness pops out like an ejection seat, basically, you know, and that made it work. So the fan is actually doing the work. On the other hand, when it's not doing a little design pieces like this, being transparent with them allows us to make sure that we don't build food in our basement without asking you what you like, what you don't like, what you're allergic of, and then we coming out after and shoving it your mouth, you know, and then you basically puke it out, and that image is actually kind of what the industry is about.
That's a frightening comparison.
Yeah, it is, eh? And so by involving them from the get-go, we already know what we should do and not do. So it saves us money and time in going backwards afterwards and seeing going backwards and trying to redesign features and things like that, because we know from the get-go that that's what the fan wanted, you know. So that saves us time, but the main objective is not to save time, it's to please the fan. Now, if we can do both, then obviously saving time in developing a game means it costs us less money. If it costs us less money, we can either add more feature or have a fairer price, or we don't need to try to be a jack of all trades to please 100 million people to be able to make a penny. We can have a very good business with less people and making sure these people are very well taken care of. You know, that's another example of our approach. If I was a VP marketing of any large corporation and you ask me, well, do you have PvE in the game? The answer would be yes, we have PvP and we have PvE, so we have everything for everybody. Well, that's not what we're saying. We're saying it's 85% PvP and it's 15% PvE. The PvE elements are procedural, and they're there to enhance the rest of the gameplay. But the pillar of the consumer promise we're telling our player, which is what they want, is to be a soldier in the 41st millennium. And that's the consumer promise.
That makes complete sense.
And that's war, you know. So that's another element. Now, the toughest part about the no marketing firewall. So the first not obstacle, but challenge that we have, which obviously, hopefully you will cover by the way you're going to present your article, is that I like to make that image like a comparison. One of my friends once came to talk to me. He wanted to do his CV. And his CV, he didn't finish his high school. He had just the second to last years of his high school done, you know? And that's what he wrote. I said, people lies on their CV all the time. So by being that truthful, I'm not saying you should lie, but by being that truthful, you just won't get the interview. So just put that you have high school studies. Don't say that you graduate, don't say you don't, but say you have high school studies. And then if someone asks you the direct question, then you answer truthfully. But it's a bit the same thing. Right now, we're the only one, really, well, one of the rare one showing, because it's starting I'm seeing Sony starting to do it a little bit, and I'm seeing Square Enix starting to do it a little bit. But truly, that transparent from QA to me, being accessible to fan, I think we're one of the first one. when we are not engaging in a discussion with a fan and we just have an article where you see a video with gray boxing and no lighting and things like that, the fan, they don't know that it's 15 guys working on a project for 3 months, and that we're in pre-production, we're testing everything, we're testing mechanic, we're testing things like that. And usually we don't, companies don't show that. So that's one of the challenges that we have to educate each time that I do an article, each time we show asset to a new hub of community, the one that we haven't engaged before, that they use of the junk food approach of the marketing in the industry, in the gaming industry. When we present this so early stage and they don't know about it, they think that we're showing a finished good. So we need to educate them about it. So that's one of the challenges. Another challenge is the time consumption. Obviously we have to balance this well. So far, the community, as it grew, we were, again, very transparent with them. We tell them this. So often, if I'm like right now, I'm about a week and a half late in all my personal direct message. I have maybe 40 of them from fans. And what I'll do is I'll tweet and I'll post on Facebook. I say, guys, I know I'm late. Don't worry, I'll answer all your questions, but you want me to make a game for you as well, right? So we are educating our fan to say, okay, yes, we're accessible, but sometimes it might take a while for you guys to get an answer, especially now that we're in a campaign up to E3, since we're launching the Founders Program there. I'm telling, and they're all, so far, all very understandable. And I can tell you all the horror story about that everybody was warning me about in my last business, as well as even peers in other studios, never happened. Where are you based, Kenny?
I'm currently in Cambridge in England.
In England. I'm pretty sure that your mom, especially with beautiful hair, like you told you that if you go out with wet hair, you're going to get the cold. And my mom said the same thing. I'm French Canadian, and I'm pretty sure that moms from all around the globe said the same thing, even though everybody know it's not true, right? So it's scared of being scared. And there's a lot of it in the industry. And we've decided with Eternal Crusade so I've decided to trust my dev, and we've decided as a team to trust our fan. And we really, we don't fake it. Our boss is our fan. Now, that brings me to the third challenge, which is the loudest majority is not the majority. So that's very important for us to understand who the loudest people are, and I call that the smoke, because it looks big, you don't know if the fire is big or if it's a small fire. And in order to know that fire is big or small, you need to get information from the silent majority, the real majority, the one that don't take the time to post thousands of messages on the forum and engage in discussion. So that's a challenge, to make sure that we use our loudest majority to pinpoint issue, and then we go down deep into the one that are silent, which is the real majority, to find out, is it a real issue, or is it an issue only for this is something as well that you'll never hear me say. I'm going to say it once for you to know. But again, it goes with our philosophy. I will never patronize people that pay us, that pay our mortgage, that pay for our entertainment, the players. So you'll never hear me say a whale. That's a term that the industry use all the time. I'll call them premium player. I'll never call them a whale. So. So premium player, which often are the loudest majority, they're very important, and they will indicate issues, and we need to listen to them because obviously they're premium customer, but we need to make sure that we get the real average and not just the average of the premium players.
Gotcha. That makes complete sense.
This is these are the plus. It's not minus, because the challenges I told you, we will change the market. We will educate the market with this, and we're seeing already. I don't think we've had any influence yet on that. Maybe we did, but I don't want to give ourselves the credit. But with time, and once the product will be successful, then yes, our approach, people will look at, say, oh, what? They're trusting their player? and it works, and they're making money, and their game is great. Oh well, then maybe we should listen to the people paying us as well,
Yep.
and that will help the change.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's definitely an interesting take on things, especially in recent years with the massive skyrocketing stuff like crowdfunding and Kickstarter and all that kind of stuff, where effectively players are hiring devs as such, and it makes sense because they're the people who you're trying to sell the game to, and they're the people putting food on your plate, so it adds up.
I agree. I
Okay.
agree 100%. Like one thing that I could reveal to you already. Uh, the dev tracker that we have currently was made by one of our fans. The wiki we'll have on the new website coming out is made by a fan as well. Because everybody in the industry knows that fans wiki are better than studio wiki.
Yep.
So in my past job, again, internally, we were using the wiki from the fans. So why make one when the one from the fan is better?
Yep. Makes sense.
And it's already done. So, I said, sure, but if I was a very large tier one publisher, I would never be able to convince executive to do that.
Yeah.
So it's about, no, we need to control the message. We need to control what's in it. They're not even looking at what's in it anyway.
Yeah.
And your employees are not even using it. So why create, again, it's fear of fear,
Yep.
fear of being afraid.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. Now, quite early on, you did announce that you received the license for releasing the game on both the Xbox One and the PS4. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we get the license for PC, Mac, Xbox One, PS4, and I guess tablets now that run Windows 8. Some of the tablets, like Razer is a tablet that is more powerful than some desktop. So it's like a PC basically. So yeah, we have the rights for all of this, but the Founders Program and the release that is planned for end of 2015 is for PC only. But the way we're doing the tech right now is really to be completely transparent on either of the platform. We use Xbox One as a minimum requirement. The whole game, because it's really a massive combat RPG. It's not a first-person shooter. It's not a third-person shooter. It is a third-person massive combat RPG, which means that melee and range is as important. Think of Gears War or Space Marine from THQ.
Yep.
So both of them are very important, and so we support both the keyboard and mouse as well as the gamepad. And we're building it to be as good either or. Right now, what we're seeing in all our playtests, we do 2 smoke tests per day and 2 play tests per week with the team. And what we're seeing is that for range, people are finding easier with mouse and keyboard, and for melee, better with the gamepad.
Gotcha.
I'm a melee. I play tank most of the time in all the other MMOs, so I'm a melee guy. I like to get close and dirty. So I use the gamepad, and the way the UI is made is to be completely transparent, meaning that you have your UI, you unplug your game controller, and the UI, the keys to press switch to your keyboard and mouse. All the UI switched to that, and if you plug back your gamepad, it switched again to the gamepad UI. So to port it on the X-Gen platform, it's something that's going to be very, very easy. Plus, Behavior has been doing 21 years of service. So it was doing games for other people, and one of their service is to port games down. There's a lot of AAA game out there, some of them that just released this week or last week, that we did the port down to the current gen. And that's an expertise of Behavior. So to say to you that basically for the next gen platform, the only thing I'm waiting to see to be able to say, yes, we're going to be there for launch, or yes, we're going to be there 6 months after launch, is to see what type of business model Microsoft and Sony will provide to MMOs. Because on current gen, the MMOs have not been very successful, and the only one that have been there, except recently World of Tank, all the other ones were owned by the platform owner, so Sony or Microsoft, like DC Universe or this type of game. And so we're waiting to see revenue share, the frequency, how we can do updates, because on the old model, it was way too expensive, way too long before we can do updates and things like that. So that's all I'm waiting for. And obviously my utopian goal. I want to say utopian because if I say it's a deal breaker, it's a disrespect toward the fan that really don't want to buy a PC and wants to play our game on console. But so it's not a deal breaker for me. But I'm gonna fight tooth and nail for the game to be in a single universe, so that when you play and you're in the game, you don't know the players around you if they're playing from a PC or from a console. That's my goal. My ultra utopian goal is that both Xbox One, PS4, and PC is all in the same universe. But
That would be very exciting.
that would be very exciting. But for the both console to be in the same universe, I'm not sure that Microsoft is ready for that yet. We'll see.
Crossing my fingers.
We'll see.
Definitely crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. Going to get a little bit stuck in now with some of the more sort of.
There's one thing that, just one thing that talking about choices about, in a single universe or not, a lot, and that's not just, Microsoft or whatever. People forget that client or players is a privilege, not an asset.
Yeah.
So it's not an asset that you own. It's a privilege that you have while you give them good service. So that's another thing that it seems a simple statement, but it's something that is in our DNA at Behavior.
That is good to hear. So yeah, going to get stuck into a few more questions now that I have a feeling some readers will be very more interested to hear about. So a little bit more nitty-gritty stuff. Okay, so one of the earliest reveals that I recall was that you had an idea for a free-to-play model in that the orcs would be a free-to-play race, and that would act as a balance between the fact that there's obviously supposed to be far superior number of orcs than there are to say Space Marines. Is that still in place? Is that developed at all? Or
Of course. So our business model for the whole game, it's an hybrid business model. It's a premium with a free-to-play faction. So the premium aspect, so the 4 faction, the premium orcs, the Space Marine, the Chaos, and the Eldars. The model for this is exactly like Guild War 2. So it's buy to play. You pay once, and that's it. And the Founders Program package, the lowest bracket of the package is $40 for 40K. And with $40, we don't double dip. So for $40, you get so when the game's launch, the game's going to cost $40, in 18 months from now, and you don't get anything else. $40, you just get the game, right? Right now, for the Founders, you get the game for $40, but on top of that, we give you $40 worth of point that you can use in the Rogue Trader store for all aesthetic item. We do more than aesthetic item, but we are completely allergic to pay-to-win mechanic. So that's something that we will not have the game. The model of the in-game store, it's called pay to be cool.
Right.
There's a new element. One thing that you'll get to know me with time is that I'm weird.
Right.
I like to do things differently. I'm really proud to be different, and I always try to look at innovation in gaming, but not just too much innovation where the player loses his what's it called, his guide points, So he needs to understand the mechanic of the game, but then I surprise him with some element of innovation without making him lost, and too much innovation. So one of the things that we implemented in the Rogue Trader store is what we call side grade. Have you ever heard of that?
I have.
I think that the only other game that I've seen with that is Nosgoth from Square Enix.
Big fan of Legacy of Kain.
As side grade. Yeah, exactly. So they have side grade. What it means is that throughout your progression, you want to unlock, let's say you unlock a special kind of, just for your readers that don't know 40K, I'll use this example, but without using the 40K names. Let's say sniper, okay? It unlocks a sniper. The sniper, let's say, does 100 damage every 60 seconds, okay? Well, then you can buy a different skin for that snipers that you just unlock in the store. But what we do with the side grade is we find that it's not enough value for us to charge you just for the look. So we're trying to put a meta game in there, and it goes with our asymmetric balance, which I'll send you later on with the orcs, so you'll see. But what we do is, let's say the sniper was doing 100 damage every 60 seconds. The new one you take with the new skin will give 50 damage every 30 seconds. So over 60 seconds, it's exactly the same thing. But in terms of the strategy, when you play it, if you and I we're Eldars hiding, and we're using that sniper thing against a dreadnought alone in a battlefield. That dreadnought, the fact that we could give 100 damage one shot, I can remove his shield, and then you can kill him one shot. So go poof, poof, and he's dead. But if that on that battlefield there's an Eldar super fast with cloaking devices, then most likely we're going to miss him because he's very quick. So we're better off with the one that does 50 damage every 30 seconds, because chances are we're going to miss some of our shot. And if we have the other one, then the Eldar will be able to close the distance and kill us. So that's what we call side grades. So we'll have side grades and things like that in the microtransaction store. So now, for the orc boys, I have to put all of what I've told you in a parenthesis. One of the things that I'm making very large caricatural generality, but and let me know if you agree with me. But in free-to-play game, when you have a different culture between the free player, these are the players that switch from one free-to-play game to the other without never or very rarely monetizing, and the premium player, which the industry calls the whales, which, as I said, I don't like to call, but the premium player, these two, within a single game, they have a very different mentality. I've been playing video games, I'm 41 since I'm 15, mainly online games, and I see that. So the premium player, they think that the free player, they are not really committed to the game. They're not into the lore of the game. They cheat, they troll, they gank on spawn point, they insult, they create issues, and things like that. The free-to-play player, they think that the premium player, they're just big fat geeks staying at home behind their computer with no life, no girlfriend, just throwing their money without thinking to studios. Again, I'm making huge generality, but if I was to do an average, this is kind of the mood or the emotion I'm feeling from both sides. And it's been a while that I'm trying to find a way to gamify that and monetize that into the game. So so that was what I'll tell you. How does that apply to the free orcs? The other thing is that orcs in the lore, they're mushroom. They reproduce through spores. You don't see, oh, I got attacked by one orc. It's the green tide. It's a huge amount of orcs. Plus, that's the way their psychic power work. If an orc takes an empty Space Marine gun, he goes taka 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 taka, and there's bullet of psychic energy flying. He doesn't know that. But if he believes it, and there are enough orcs around him, or is a big enough orc, then yes, it will happen. Same way with their truck. If I paint it red, it goes faster. So it's exactly the same thing. If it's one orc boy, which is the boys is the one of the lowest class of orcs. Basically, orcs, the bigger you are, the higher you are, their hierarchy. I remember, I forgot his name, but there's a big orc boss that says, "You puny human, I understand why you have so much difficulties with your leadership, because you have all the same size." So because for them, you see who's the boss? Oh, it's the big guy there. It's as simple as that. So with the orcs, it works the same way. So the more they are, the more the psychic power works, right? So we wanted to give that immersion perspective into the game. This is a thing that you'll see within the whole team, as well as mostly with myself. I have a pet peeves about immersion. So tell me the story of the game. Tell me the rules of the universe. I'm fine with that, but don't go break it afterwards. If I'm a super duper powerful human, and I walk in a alley and you put some little garbage like 2 feet high, and I can't go above it, just put a damn wall instead of putting this little garbage. That's laziness for me, because if I'm a superhuman, I can walk over a garbage can. So and for us, you'll see that in Eternal Crusade, it's very important for us to keep true to the lore. Over a third of the team has been fan for over 10 years. One of my associate producers just won the Tabletop Quebec tournament, #1 in all of the province of Quebec in the tabletop tournament. So I mean, we're really hardcore fan. It's the reason why as well that we went and picked up Graham McNeil, was one of the best Black Library authors. He's wrote over Yeah, over 36 novels is wrote altogether. A lot of them New York New York Time bestseller, sorry. And so he's our writer. He wrote everything about the background story of our game, and you'll find out what's going on with Arcona, because Arcona is not what it appears
Ooh,
to be, and that's something that you'll discover
that
throughout
is
this.
exciting.
So now the fact to have the Orc Boys free to play and having orcs as a premium, the reason why we have that. So first of all, player will be able to see a real behavior of orcs, so the immersion of seeing the
Yeah.
green tide. Second of all, the premium player will interact not with free-to-play player. They will interact with the orc culture. The Orc Boys culture was designed by Games Workshop based on the hooligan from, I forgot the name of a city in England, but it's a small city in England where the hooligans are really, really, really crazy. And that was the real inspiration of the culture of the orcs. So they all fight for the wah, you know. So by the way, these free orc, their model we call free to wah.
That's awesome.
You know, it's not free to play; it's free to wah. So for these orcs, and it matches the culture of the orc boys, matches the culture of these free to play player, the general culture of these free to play player. So having a premium player calling me and saying, calling customer support and say, hey, I have 5 boys ganking on my spawn point, and my customer service rep is going to say,
Yeah, orcs will
yeah,
do that.
and the orcs will do that, you know. Or we have execution mechanic in the game, and it gives there's a leaderboard about it and things like that, you know. Most likely, a lot of free player orc boys will, during a huge large battle, they will wait for 2 big, you know, premium player fighting, and they'll wait for one to go down, and they run to it, execute him very quickly, and run and hide again, you know, to steal the execution away from the other player because he's been attacked by another one, you know. So again, that's a mechanic that a free player, a bad free
Yep.
player would do, but that's exactly what the orc boy would do anyway. So we're matching personality with the actual in-game, so we're bringing the conflict in the game lore. That's another reason. The third reason is balance. So we have a lot of different safety net and mechanism for what we call our asymmetric balance. And what I mean, Kenny, by asymmetric balance is if you and I, we play chess and we look at a chess board, well, the chess board is 100% balanced, right? Symmetric 100%. But your black pawn and my white queen, they're not balanced at all. My white queen is way more powerful than your black pawn. But your black pawn can still eat me, can still eat the white queen, depending of the strategy that you use and depending of the situation. That is what we call asymmetric balance. Or I can present it in a different way. We say, okay, we have a new rule in chess. We have to take out 2 of the main pawns. So both bishop or both knights or both towers, we have to remove them. Which one are you going to remove? Which one is it the bishop more powerful than the tower? It's hard to know, you know. That's what we call asymmetric balance. In order to have that, that's one of the reasons why we have 4 factions, because asymmetric balance cannot work with 2 factions. It might work with 3, but most likely with 3 you always have an underdog, you know. But with 4 factions, and 2 big pole, then you can have a true asymmetric balance. But we know from our experience that in any type of video games in the 40K universe, 40% of the population will use
Yep.
Space Marine. We did a survey on our forums, and we ended up with 40.7%. So we know that we're right, and we need a counterweight with that. And we think that with the orc boys being free, will be the counterweight to that. I mean, not all the orcs will be free. There's orcs premium, the knobs and everything else, they're premium. But having the boys as a sub-faction of a premium faction will do the counterweight of that. And in game, the war council of each of these factions can make deals with each other, you know, to focus on another faction and wait until the end to dish it out against each other
Gotcha.
at the end, you know. So that will really create the asymmetry of the asymmetric
Gotcha.
balance. The asymmetry of the balance?
The
No, the
asymmetric
asymmetric
balance.
balance.
I talk about this game with some people that I work with, and occasionally I get asked, well, if it's an MMO, I mean, will there be a profession system? Because the idea of having a space marine sitting there making handbags in the middle of a battlefield seems ridiculous to me. So I'm wondering if there's going to be any sort of replacement, or are you just scrapping it all together saying, we have no time to make clothes and cloth, we have to go out there and kill stuff? Again, it's trying to sort of draw the comparison since
So
this is, I mean, it's a MMO persistent online shooter.
it's a massive combat
Gotcha. So, I
RPG.
mean, is that going to filter in anywhere, or is
Massive
it
combat RPG.
mostly going to be filter away from that and jump into your more combat heavy sort of things because 41st millennium?
Yeah, this is so easy to answer because, again, remember the first thing I told you, the
Yep.
consumer promise? Consumer promise is to make you, Kenny, experience what it is to be a soldier in the
Gotcha.
41st millennium. We say a soldier because you could be an
Yeah.
LR soldier or an orc soldier, whatever, you know? So I've never seen in any of the books or fluff, you know, Space Marine hammering a sword. Well, there's a two Primarch
Yeah.
that did that. Fulgrim and
Ferris Manus.
Ferris Manus did that as a challenge to each other, you know. But that was an
Yeah.
epic moment, and that's very very rare. But Space Marine will take
Yeah.
care of their armor. Yes, they will clean it, they will modify it, they will paint it. They will do that. So yes, customization of your equipment is something that you'll have. It's actually a very important point, and Thursday today, so maybe by the end of the day or tomorrow, there's a newsletter coming out. Have you
I have,
opted in for the
yes.
newsletter? You better say yes. Okay.
If you can see my desktop, it's actually the
If
tin
not,
in the background. So
okay, good. So the newsletter that Michael Chan, one of the designers, has wrote is about
excellent.
customization, and we're showing you how we will allow you to customize it and everything. So you'll have that, and you'll have weapon upgrades. It's not more as a crafting, more as a assembling. You know, I'll make a stupid example, but it's like, you know, for your plasma gun, a bigger
Yeah.
battery.
Gotcha.
You know, it's a real joke, but
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying. So it's more about assembling things together versus the real
Yeah.
crafting, because yes, we don't have time and budget now to do this, but
Yeah.
that's not a real reason. Even if we had the time and the budget, it's just not something that a
Yeah.
Space Marine would do anyway. Yeah, hopefully that
Yeah.
answer your question about
Again,
that.
sort of.
And for the clothes and everything else, that goes with the
Gotcha.
customization, and you'll see that in the newsletter tonight
Gotcha.
or tomorrow.
Again, sort of trying to draw comparisons or see what the comparison is lacking with other mass multiplayer games. Loot. So, say I kill an enemy player who's some massive Space Marine captain. Will there be loot drops, say weapon components or customization parts? Because again, the
Of
whole sort of
course,
people are still flagging this as a massively multiplayer game. Some are saying it's a flat out MMO, and so they're expecting certain things.
yeah. So there's two things that are very important in the game. There's actually three things: loot, requisition points,
Mm.
and resources. These are the three elements that are very important. Now, the loot is not the loot like you see in normal MMO. Like, here's a carrot each time you do something. You know, that's not the way it
Yep.
works for a soldier, right? Again, going back to being a soldier. I did my university degree in a military university, a bit like West Point, but in Canada, called Royal Military College of Canada. I actually swore fealty to your
Fair
queen
enough.
as an officer. And my bachelor degree was in polymology, which is military and strategic study, and so that's what I studied in, I was in the army from the age 16 to 22. So when a new recruit arrives, you know, the surgeon doesn't say, here's my tank key and
Yep.
go have fun, you know. They're going to give him the smallest possible weapon first until he gets seniority and experience and training, and then he can do other stuff. It's exactly the same way in the game. So a player that has been playing the game for a year and a player that's just starting to play the game, the player that just started playing can still kill in a one-to-one the guy that's been playing for a year, because our game mechanic is skill-based, not
Gotcha.
stat-based. So in terms of what you'll get, it's things that as loot, it's things that you'll get in either procedural dungeon that we have. So you're finding waves of steer and anything like that, and you find a huge artifact that, yes, will upgrade your stats, but will upgrade your squad stats, your strike force stats, and even the whole faction stats. The way the designers are designing the game, it's really that every action that you do, even if you don't follow the hierarchies orders that you're receiving or the objective that you're receiving, if you do on your own, everything that you do that is good for you is good for everybody in your faction. So that's the way we do it. So this is an important part that you'll get, the loot from these dungeons. But the requisition point is what I was doing the example of a new recruit. This is points that you get through your action within the game, and this will allow you to, let's say you've unlocked the usage of a certain tank as an example. Well, when you want to spawn that tank, you need to have enough requisition point, so that means you know what you're doing, driving that tank, to spawn it. And then you need to have resources as well to spawn, like fuel, a promethium, and things like that. These resources are produced inside your outpost around in your territory. That's why, which is in the middle, is your fortress. That's why if you're Strike Force commander and you want to attack the enemy territory right away, you need to leave some squad behind, because if you leave your outposts free, Tyranids, what they want, we follow the 3 rules of the Tyranids. What is it? Reproduce. I forgot them. Reproduce.
I'm guessing one is consume.
Yeah, consume, and is the third one? It's efficient, like avoid waste of energy. And these Tyranid will go grab each of your resources if they see that your battle line is not protected. That's another mechanism for balancing as well. And you said, and the resources, you can find additional resources, because throughout the discovery of the universe, because Arcona is one instance. Everybody is playing on the same planet. No instances. The only instance that we have in our game is inside the dungeon, the procedural dungeon. So you'll find new mines, you'll find new stuff like this that you'll be able to exploit. And again, that will benefit you, but it will benefit the whole faction. So yes, loot is very important, but again, we don't break lore. As an example, if in the middle of a fight, a Space Marine has no more ammunition in his bolter, and he sees an orc weapon, he can pick it up and shoot a few rounds until it's empty, but he cannot equip it. He cannot carry with him. He can pick it up on the ground, but he cannot bring it. So no real Space Marine will ever use a Xeno weapon, ever. It's actually most of the heresy started with that. I remember, well, Erebus with the sentient sword, and what was his name? He started with the arachnid.
That was Lucius.
The first or the second. Yeah, exactly. He was using an arachnid.
The arachnids, whatever they're called. Yeah.
Or basic leg as a sword, and he got chastised for it. So again, we're true to the lore. So we'll have that, and obviously, what the concept of do you use that termination? And actually, it's a very good thing, because based on your feedback, I might change the definition of the game, the name of that thing. Barrack box. Do you use this in the English military? It's a big plastic box that soldiers keep under their bed, where they put all their stuff in. Have you heard that? We'll ask our fans if it's a name that they recognize, but that's the name we use in Canadian Army. So basically, you'll find barrack box sometimes that, and we'll sell some of them as well. With the one you'll find are like bronze barrack box, but you will sell one that we guarantee that there's going to be different rarity of items in it, and then you can purchase it without knowing what's in it to start with. But they'll be based on faction, basically. So at least that you can equip it based on your faction, but without knowing what there is in it. So some of them you can find it in game. Some of them you can or will be super epic that you'll find in game with very tough dungeon or some raid mechanic that we have when you just want you and your friend to go in through terrain territory and just see how long you're gonna last. We'll have some of these there, and then we have some of them as well available as a consumable in the store.
In some of the talks, and just earlier on, you mentioned the Dreadnought and stuff. You have said that vehicles will play a role in the game, and I've got a lot of people saying, "Oh, is it going to be just like Clandestine 2? Will I be able to hop in if I've got the resources and wreak havoc on my enemies?" So, I mean, Dreadnoughts, Predators, these have all been made reference to. Will they be playable to at least some extent, or? Excellent.
100%.
Okie dokie.
You'll see. I had a very long interview with IGN last week. The article should go live next week, and we did a full hour playtest. I mean, they didn't want to stop, and you'll see. Like he was shooting. He was Chaos. I was a Space Marine. I was on my Rhino, and with his tank, he was shooting at me, and he rammed me. My tank completely flipped on his back. And I was able to exit very quickly, but he had already exited and he had a jump pack. So I was trying to look for him, and he attacked me from above, and just crashed me. And then just as a finale, executed me and threw a grenade on my tank, and my tank blew in pieces. So yes, vehicle, they can shoot. Well, if they're not just a troop transport. Again, I go back to what I told you before. If it is the way it is, if a Rhino can shoot in the lore, then it can shoot in our game. Actually, scale is more correct
like
in our
Rhino's
game.
supposed to hold 10
So
Marines.
really, 10 space. Exactly. So really, 10 Marines fit very tightly, and we break that because we allow people with jump pack to come in as well. So disregard the jump pack aspect of it. Let's say it's a foldable jump pack. But yes, everything that happens. The only thing that we haven't decided yet, actually, we've decided except if there's miracle that happens, if we're way more efficient doing the project in the next 2 years, or if we get an incredible result for our founders program, then we might do it before the game launch, but it's flying vehicles. So we have anything that goes on the ground, anything that hovers, but
flyers.
flying, like flies. They're planned for post-launch now, not before launch. Just because it's to make this true and connected to the lore. We need to think about the design, and we'll need to do. This is part where we'll need to do to break a little bit the lore. Like a Thunderhawk can go at the speed of sound or even faster, But that's not, shoot him. Whoa, where's gone? So we'll have to find mechanic for that. But anything that hovers or touch the ground, it's in
okay.
game.
Next question, and this is one which I tried to look for, and I really don't want to ask questions that have already been asked. Psychers, are they in? Are they going to be in? To what extent?
Of course.
Will they be
of course they
sort of a class?
To
or?
all extents. Go back to librarians are there. They're a part of a hero class, and obviously the Eldars. A lot of the Eldar class are only psychers, so they're only psychers. And in a certain way, orcs
weird boys
are psychers as well,
business.
right? So exactly, all of them are there. The weird boys were already announced.
You've talked briefly about the.
I mean, again, it's how can I how can I pitch a 40K games to fan and saying no psychers?
As a chaos player, I like the thought of trying to cast psychic power and then exploding into a blob of viscera. But we'll go into that at some other point.
Yes.
So I've seen one of your talks where you made reference to, I can't remember what it was called. You'll have to inform me. This commander system where there is actual rank in the game, and one player could be a commander and issue orders to people beneath him, to other strike forces and all this kind of stuff. How far along is that? Because that generally sounds like something which I can't recall being done before, and it's something that could be massively interesting. And just in case some people aren't familiar with it, I might just sort of summarizing it really quick.
Yeah. I think is not the next newsletter. I think in the next newsletter, that's going to be the subject. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on it. Well, I'm on camera, but yes, this is a very important part of our mechanic. This is what we call that. It's one of the first game that is player-driven. The way I like to express it, like we take inspiration from many different games, and the way we build the team, we have experts from very different different genre of games. We have guys that are combat expert, Twitch combat console game
Yeah.
expert, like Mortal Kombat, the people that worked on license like that, you know. And then we have MMO experts, you know. So when the MMO experts arrive and say, oh, it's okay if the combat is not too visceral because it's an MMO and everybody agrees. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I say this is bullshit, right? So that's why we don't stop. Um, um, we're not afraid to go further, and I dare the fans to say, you know, when you play the combat, it's you get the same adrenaline as a match of Mortal Kombat. You know, that's the purpose. So in terms of the player driven, when we take inspiration from other games, we took inspiration from PlanetSide 2, from EVE Online, from THQ Space Marine, from Gears of War, from
Borderlands is mentioned a lot.
yeah, Borderlands, and what was it called? A very hardcore RPG game, medieval game,
Demon Souls and Dark Souls.
Demon Soul. Demon Soul,
Gotcha.
sorry, not Demon Soul, Dark Souls, and which is a very, very hardcore game in terms of the combat mechanic, you know. But for EVE Online and PlanetSide 2, the inspiration that we took was because what the players are doing, the experiment player, the people that have built relationship and are part of guilds and things like that, what they've created in terms of leadership and things like that, the way they work, it's outside the game. They've created their own system outside the game, and that's great. I mean, but what we'll do in Eternal Crusade is we'll bring the system to the 2.0 level, but inside the game. So one of the issues that you have with PlanetSide, which we play often, is that as a noob player that I just started in the game, I'm on it and I'm playing right away, you know. But I'm not part of any strategy. I'm just looking at, oh, okay, I'm a blue guy, so I'm going to stick with all the blue guy. And then you have a blob of blue guy running around and say, oh, these are the red guys. They shoot the red guys. But they don't know if they're in the midst of a big strategy, if they were just breaking the strategy of a commander that was trying to draw them this way to be able to squeeze them into an ambush, a thing like that, you know? And you're missing that. It takes you months and months of playing and making contact in order to do this. But with our approach of player-driven game, we from the get-go we cover that. You feel part of a strategy even as a noob. So the way it works is basically a squad is from 4 people to 10 people, and the squad has a commander, as a squad commander. That squad commander has different tools than the other squad member. Not different, additional tools than they have. All the squad commander can be elected as a strike force commander, who is a commander of 10 squads, so 100 players. And all of the strike force commander can be elected. There's 5 members of on the War Council, which is basically the War Council. This is the one that decides how you're going to wage war for that campaign or that continent, for that whole faction. Now, how does it work, basically? So I'll give you a very a good example. Let me just pick up, give me 2 seconds, because that example actually is an example that is a true mechanic that will happen over and over inside the game.
Just while you're looking really quick, is there going to be any possibility in PvP, say, I want to roll a Chaos Space Marine, but say a friend of mine wants to roll an Orc Knob or whatever, is there any chance that we'd be in the same strike force, or at least be able to play cooperatively, or would it just be PvE?
No. It would, even if it wasn't us saying no to this, Game Workshop would never approve that. It doesn't happen, you know. The War Council faction can make secret deal with each others, you know, and then we have special places where they can meet and they can make deals like this. But in terms of grouping, there's inside a structure group like what you said, no way, because it just would break the lore. Space Marine wouldn't walk hand in hand with a Chaos Space Marine.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Let's go kill some orcs, you know? Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that, please, this is part of our transparency. What I can tell you is I know that Brent and David are working on instant grouping mechanic that are not connected to leadership structure or anything like that. It's just that you want to do that dungeon with your friends, and you happen to be different faction. I'm not sure how it works or if it's decided to be implemented in the game. I guess not, because I haven't seen it on a forum. Before a big feature like this, we usually post it on a forum first to ask questions from our fans. So, but just watch out for that, because we understand that, yes, it is a game, yes, it's immersion, but let's say you and your best buddy just want to go into Tyranid territories and fight waves and waves and waves of Tyranid. I mean, nobody's going to see you and nobody's going to hear about that, and it's just you and your friends. So we're looking at that type of thing. So that leadership thing, how does it work? So let me tell you, how are we doing on time, by the way?
Well, started at about 22, so we've got maybe 5-10 minutes. It's as long as you can spare.
Okay, so, okay, oh no, it's for you. So I'll give you a very good example, okay? Something like the Eldar Faction Council, or the War Council, decide that Conqueror, the supreme manufacturum on Sylvae. Sylvae is one of our continent, is the smallest, is 64 square kilometers. It takes you 15 minutes to cross with a Rhino. It takes you about 40 minutes to cross as a running speed as a Space Marine.
Yeah,
and that's the smallest continent.
Small,
so,
I guess.
And the level design team and I we're applying military strategy. If you could check, I mean, we're using you know,
The Art of War.
Yeah, The Art of War.
Wow.
That's a collector edition, by the way. It's a gift from one of the big deal I did in Korea, one of my old business. So it's a gift from them. But we use a really military perspective. So when you see playfield in these big, large playfield, a lot some areas have huge choke point with caves where you can hide 50 Space Marine as an ambush inside of a choke point. You know, we have others that are huge, complete empty playfield with no cover whatsoever. So the only way you can advance in that playfield is through traditional military. You cannot apply guerrilla mechanic in there. You know, you have to just put your dreadnought in front to protect against fire, to protect your other troops that are not as armored, anything like that. By the way, we have full friendly fire in the game. Again, go back to our consumer premise: be a soldier of the 41st millennium. So if your commander uses dreadnought to take the bulk of the attack to protect you, like, who the hell are you shooting through them? You know, just don't kill your own people. You know, that's not the way wars are waged. We want people to think. We don't want people to just jam their button. You know, we want them to think about the best way to wage war. So, and we'll have snow that in some area that slows down the tank and things like that. So let me tell you this. Of course, snow. We'll have very different. And if you saw in the last newsletter, we have 3 suns as well. And it changes the whole perspective. When the red one comes in front of the yellow one, or the blue one comes in there, it changes the whole mood in which you are. So, so now for the leadership, a very possible scenario, something that's going to happen over and over again. The Eldar Faction Council decide that conquering the Supreme Manufactum on Sylvae should be their focus. One of the commander set an objective to take a control point inside one of the manufacturum nearby supply depot. A player who just made their character 10 minutes ago select this objective from the map. So basically, if you look, this is a kind of a, let me just check my camera. So this is kind of a, on my Alienware laptop, this is kind of a mock-up of it's actually a screenshot of our game, but with paint over, just to give us an indication of what we want. But if you look right here, you see a picture here, and it says, Commander Magellan, let's capture objective B. Come on, we are almost there for the Emperor. Okay, that's not us. That's a player, and as a that's a player that he's a commander, and he sent that orders to his troops. So if it's a squad commander, then it's 10 guys that receiving this. Is a strike force, and 100 guys gets that, right? So that's how the noob was able to see that objective from the map. So you select that objective from the map, pops out of a webway portal at the nearest stronghold, and it heads up for the depot in a wave serpent, because he's an Eldar, right? So he spawned the first small tank as an add-on that he could use, using fund allotted to that location by the war console or by his own work. So he's using his own requisition point. The commander, the commander that was giving that objective receives a message from one of his squad telling him there's a predator tank protecting that depot. Using the power of one of the Eldar control strongpoint on the continent, he opens a portal near that player, that new player that just joined in, because the commander can see all his troops on the battlefield. So he will open a portal right beside that noob and deliver him a more powerful anti-vehicle fire prism. And he's going to call him saying, hey, I know you just joined the game, but you're part of my strike force. I know you didn't know. The direction where you're going right now, careful, there's a predator tank there, and we're right now preparing a big attack on this. So your wave serpent won't work. So right now I'm using my requisition point as a commander, and I just spawned a fire prism, which has a very big anti-tank gun on it. And so use that tank, because with your wave serpent, you're going to get killed right away. So don't use that. Use my tank, but focus on the predator tank, because I have 3 other squads waiting for you to clear that tank before they can attack the strong post. And that new person's like, he thinks he's an AI talking to him. Hello? No, I'm your commander. You know, that's what I need to do. Okay, yes, sir. You know, and he got a brand new tank on top of that, like one of the top ones. So the player switches to the fire prism and use it to destroy the predator. Then takes the control point with the help of the other squad. For this, he received the usual XP plus a bonus because he followed orders, plus a reward box. This is what the barrack box I was telling you. Flipping the depot reduced the supply reserve of the Supreme Manufactorum, causing its turret to lose power. The Eldar armies, all the other strike force, used this opportunity to press forward into the stronghold. Later, the commander's reward for his winning effort with a gift from the council and his sponsoring members retained his seat in the next election. So that's a situation that could happen anytime in the game. And that's what a player-driven game means. So you as a noob, you're just starting the game, and suddenly you're part of a real strategy that was designed maybe a week before, you know, and you were not involved. But as moment as you step into the playfield, you're part of a hierarchy structure. Later on, you can decide if you want to stay with that commander, with that strike force or not, if you want to go to another one, blah, blah, blah. But at the beginning, you're automatically hooked up to one of the squad and strike force and the war council. Politics. Well, is there politics?
Some politics. It's just not very friendly. I do have probably another question or two if you have time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Sure. No problem.
I'll be very brief with this, since you did mention it's going to be relevant in the next newsletter. Say me and one of my buddies both jump in, and we're both playing as Eldar, and we're the same class. Say we're Guardians or whatever. And we both want to obviously be the same class and work together, but we want to look completely different. I'm guessing this is, again, a huge focus, with customization being a massive element of the whole 40K run and all this kind of stuff.
Yes. The only limitation, there's only 2 limitations that you'll see in the newsletter about customization. The first one is you don't want to, as a commander, I don't want to have a rainbow on the battlefield. You know, I want to know who's my soldier. So that's important. So there's limitation there. The other part, but the limitations are actually almost the same as, I mean, I've never seen, you know, I can picture Reboot walking down the line doing an inspection and saying blue, 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 pink, blue.
What's that noise we're doing in
I don't think it would go by well. Yeah, exactly. Or even the Rainbow Marines. They did exist
those things.
once ever, probably. It's an lexicanum anyway. So probably invented in the 70s. So basically, that's one of the first limitation, but it's basically the same that you have in the lore anyway. The second limitation is because you know about our
yes, I actually saw the video on that with the 500 players versus 500 players. That was very impressive.
Yes, but that was
2
really
years ago.
not the limitation of the technology. That was exactly, and that was how many people they were able to gather. Actually, their real world record is 999 because one player didn't show up. So we're gonna break that record, you know. And I don't want to tell you, but let's say it's between 1,000 and 2,000, you know. So and in terms of the backend technology and the server technology, we can sustain a lot more than that. Our bottleneck right now is the client. And in terms of the client is the rendering, how does the image or process uh, live with your computer, So customization, the more you have different type of texture, the more you have different type of image, the heavier it is. So we do have that other obstacle to allow you to customize everything. So you'll see in the newsletter the area where we allow to customize. So basically shoulder pad, knee pad, these type of things, But we won't allow you to paint your whole character the way you want it to be. We need to keep it as a balance with the fact that we really want to be able, again, to meet the consumer promise, which is to be a soldier in the 41st millennium. And that has
okay. Really quick. So you guys have talked about a lot how there's going to be components and gear is going to be a big focus and all this kind of stuff. Does this mean you've done away with any sort of traditional skill tree or talent tree? Because obviously there's classes. I don't know if they can have individual ones, or is it going to be purely based on the skill of the player and the loot that they've got?
No. Well, yes and no. Again, it's back to real life. So a soldier that has been in the army for 5 years might lift, 50, 60, 70 more pounds bench press than when he joined, but he won't lift a car, after 5 years of service. So what he will do though, he'll get super good sniper, super good tank driver, super good in cloaking himself, in secrecy and things like that. And so this is different tools in your toolbox, basically. So the progression in the gaming industry, we call it a vertical progression versus an horizontal progression. So you don't get more powerful with time. You get a little bit more health and a little bit more powerful. But it's too bad I don't remember. I didn't sleep much last night, but Brent could tell you what is the percentage more over a year that if you were able to get them naked, you can't. But if you were able to get the two Space Marine naked, one that just joined and one that's been playing for a year, they're increased in strength and health and things like that. There is one, but it's not huge. It's not double or triple or quadruple like you have in stat-based MMO. But the progression is basically you're unlocking new knowledge, how to wage war. That's going to be a very important aspect for any type of leader or commander, because as a Strike Force commander, I'll make sure that some of my squad that I can use for anything is a good mix of veteran and noob, and but I want to keep a squad that is only veteran and a squad is only noob, because the squad is only noob. I know I can only use them for one task, so tactical or assault or this or that. I have like very limited usage of them because they haven't got the experience yet to do all the other classes or work type of field experience, But my veteran, I use them as a reserve because I plan my battle, I see what's going on, and my veteran, I wanted to use them as sniper as an example, and now I have to use them as melee. And I can just say, guys, next time, change class right away. Next time you die or commit suicide, next time you respawn, I want you in your class because I need you guys to use your melee because we're past the need for snipers now, So that's the way progression will work. It really depends. If I'm meeting alone, a dreadnought alone, or a devastator alone, well, I won't go face to face with him. I'll keep it at bay and I'll shoot him from far away and I'll keep cover. But then again, if I'm meeting an Eldar, I'll try to make sure that I go from cover to cover, never allowing me to shoot me until I can come close. I'm giving you a very large example because some Eldars are very good in melee as well, but I'm just giving you a loose example. So that's the way the progression will work. It's about are you using the right tool at the right moment, and are you strategic enough to make sure that there's one saying from it's actually from Sunset that I use all the time is a true general has won the war the moment he stepped foot on the battlefield. That means that everything that he did before,
Gotcha.
he knows that the war is won already. Going on the battlefield is just
Signing the painting.
acknowledging it, you know. Signing the painting, exactly, and that's a true sensei strategy, and that's what we want players to start thinking, you know. And when they want to blow some steam, then they can just go and kill some Tyranids and other stuff that we have. This is the part of the
Very
secret gift
exciting.
that
Okay,
we don't want to tell
I'm
you.
going to stop the recording there, so thank you very much for that.
My pleasure, and please tell your friend to come and join us in our forum to tell us what they want in the game and sign up for the newsletter.